And we're live. We're
Hey,
live. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I'm Hakina Michelle. This is my man, Positive B, and we're here. We took a little break to let y'all enjoy the holidays and to enjoy your families and enjoy new things. My co-host, Positive Brandon, congratulations on the new baby. Now I get to say it out loud, finally, out loud to everybody. Congratulations. We hope y'all had an amazing holiday. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all family and you're thankful, especially the things that's going on right now in our country. We're glad that we're all here
mm-hmm.
and that we're alive and we're enjoying the blessings. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about a few things. One of the things we're going to talk about is the stimulus checks that we received. Now, Brandon, I'll let you start that off, and your thoughts and things about that as people come in. We'll chime in on things, people's views and the blessings, that it came with the stimulus check. But also at the same time, there's a lot of other, thoughts about, the new stimulus check and new package that we got, depending on what's happening, right now in our country. Was it a benefit for us? Or was it not a benefit? At the same time, we understand that where we are right now in the economic system, and $600 for a lot of people, it changed a lot of people's lives at that point. But for a lot of other people, we could have done more. So, Brandon, start off with your thoughts about the new stimulus package they gave us this year.
Well, first things first, definitely want to welcome everybody in. We are officially in 2021, so I want to wish everybody a happy 2021. Obviously, if you're tuning into this video, you made it, and God bless that, and God bless you for making it to 2021. With that being said, so the economic stimulus check that I have yet to receive yet, but hopefully that's on the way. I haven't received mine yet, so hopefully it's on the way. But me personally, $600 is. We should have got the 2000, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because obviously, we've been pandemic for a couple months now. It's actually been what is it? Has it been officially a year? Maybe a few months to a year? Maybe next month.
I think March would be a year. I think March would hit us on a year of when everything started.
So we're a year into a pandemic, and we received the $1,200 check was maybe about 8-9 months ago, I think.
Exactly.
So by this time, during the duration of the pandemic, some people unfortunately, couldn't work, and some people were laid off from jobs, and you had different things like this happen. So the problem with $100 is, me personally, I just don't feel like it's enough. We take what they give us, but $600, a lot of individuals out here, and if you look at some of the posts and stuff on different sites and news outlets, you got people saying that, hey, I'm a couple months behind on rent, I need groceries, I need all these different things, and the $600 just isn't. It's just not enough. It's not enough to take care of. Some people have past due payments, and trying to keep food on the table. So it's that the Senate and they blocked the $2,000 stimulus check. It was very interesting that happened, and to me, it just shows some of the faults in the system, because we undoubtedly should have been getting checks of $2,000 or more. You know what I mean?
Or more. Yeah, or more.
Yeah, because it's definitely a tough year and just dealing with the pandemic. So I just think that it shows a fault in the system. So, but what can I do? What are your thoughts on it?
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I honestly, not to take it as not being a blessing, because anything that we're granted, whether small or large, is always a blessing, and should be received as a blessing. But at the same time, if I can be honest and candid, I think it was a slap in the face. I think it was a slap in the face, considering how long this has gone on. And like you said, there's a lot of people there that are majorly behind in their bills, just getting food for their families and things of that nature. So although I appreciate it,
Right.
I do think it was a slap in the face for us, you know, at the same time. And for me, you know, like when we spoke a few days ago. You hadn't gotten yours, I hadn't gotten mine. I did receive mine. However, the kicker with that is, because my children, my two oldest, are 17 and 19. Even though they're still in school, I don't receive any funding for them at the same time.
Right.
So that alone was kind of, you know, disheartening at the same time. So now, not only do you lessen the payment that you're giving to the American people, you're now not even counting the children in the household, even though they're still in school. If they're 17 and older, you have some kids in high school that just turned 17. And there's, you know, one graduate to their 18. So in those households where those families are already struggling, you know, financially and things of that nature, now you only receive the funding to help aid your family to be able to sustain until things get better. So they cut the amount for one, change the dynamics of how you receive it in your household depending on your dependents at the same time. So those two things alone not only probably jeopardize a lot of family households, but actually probably put them back a little further than what they was doing in the first place. So although at the same time I do think it's a blessing, I do think that they was a slap in the face to a lot of Americans out here who are struggling and could have and should have used that money for things that could have been a better resource if it was a higher amount. Now they say that I guess when Biden changes office, he's going to again offer us a $2,000 when it hits my account. I think that should be extended as well. I do think that, you know, if they have the option to put the amount of $2,000 on the table, we should receive that as well. This has been a long process for a lot of Americans. People have lost their lives, their families. A lot of things have happened that changed from March to just now in January. That will still continue to be, you know, going down a downward spiral for a lot of families. So any way the government can help financially, they should. They should.
Absolutely.
So, I think so.
To get your to get your input on that, and obviously I agree with what you said as far as us getting the greater amount. So in your opinion, do you think that, say, okay, just for example, we got the 600. Do you think that they should have gave us 600 a month during the pandemic? Do you think that would have been a little more suffice than just one that, you know, the payment of $1,200 up front and then this 600 payment that we're supposed to get, you know, now? Do you think I definitely think that a little more feasible to do it, you know, once a month, 600 a month plus, you know what I mean, something like that?
Yeah, I think what they should. I think if it was possible, what they should do was come up with a stimulus package that allowed us to have a monthly stipend. You know, I can't say, you know, what the amount was, you know, depending on, like, I guess, you know, the deficit and things of the government allotted to the American people, since there's a large amount of people. But I do think that there should have been a package together that gave each family a monthly amount, allowed them to at least pay the bills in their household, you know, needs throughout this whole process. The one-time payment was great, but at the same time, what happens when that's gone? It doesn't help.
Right.
So now we're back at square one for a lot of families, if not majority of families. We're back at square one, actually. So yes, I think in the upcoming months there needs to be something put into place that gives us a monthly allotment to help people to actually get back on their feet. You know, and a lot of people, you know, I think that because it had hit us so hard that a lot of people, they probably, when they got that money, rationally, they wasn't thinking that, you know, this would be such a long process. So maybe a lot of people, you know, didn't allocate their funds the right way. You know, a lot of people, you know, probably didn't save the way they should have, you know, and spend things on the way they should have. You know, at that time, no, that wasn't something that I think people thought that we would be sitting in still in January 2021. I don't think a lot of people thought that we would still be sitting here in this pandemic, with it still elevating and escalating, you know, in depth and things of that nature. So I think financially, you know, a lot of people probably didn't plan. Like for me, we talk all the time about working. I work the way I work now because I'm afraid that I would end up in the same place that happened before without any explanation, of, you know, or just out of the blue. So a lot of people right now, you know, they're in panic financially. They're financially in panic not knowing what could happen, what will happen, and how it would happen in the first place. So I do think that there's something should be set up for the American people that will sustain us month to month until we transition out of this pandemic back into some type of normal, way of living for each household. I do.
Right.
I definitely do think that.
Yeah, I think I was reading it was on one of these boards, and I know in Canada, I want to say they were getting either 2,500 a month or something like that. It was something extremely, extremely high. Now, I don't know how the currency breaks down. I don't know if that 2,500 in Canadian money is equivalent to, American. I'm not sure, but they were getting that money every month. So
wow.
I really think that should have been something that should have maybe been on the table, possibly, because it's a little different if you say it's a $600 one-time payment as opposed to saying, okay, look, we gave you the $1,200, which may not have been enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you each family, $600 a month.
Yeah.
To help cover with, food and utility bills and things of that nature. I think that would have been a little more suffice for what we're dealing with now, because we're going into a year of this thing, and obviously have a vaccination out now that is on the market, and they are getting it out to consumers and getting it out to
on
people,
the market.
It's out on the market, and so there could be some light at the end of the tunnel. But the problem with that is, me personally, I'm not a fan of taking anything like that. Just don't know what's in it, and obviously people are having allergic reactions to it, depending on their body and DNA. So, what are your thoughts as far as?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard different things. Yeah, I've heard so many different things about how it affects so many different people. I mean, and even with that, a lot of people don't even understand what's happening, even with the vaccine, because we have so many things going on right now in America that's taking our, our eyesight and our attention away from things like the stimulus, things like the vaccine, because later on we'll talk about in the show the things that happened on Capitol, the state Capitol yesterday. We'll definitely touch on that later on. But but things like there's things going on around people that are that are affecting the effect that it has on the American people, and providing resources that can't help us at the first place. I do think if it was able to provide provision for other countries, other areas, such as Canada, America's always been the best country. We're number one. We are the highest of the highest, and that's always been our reputation of the United States of America. So if other countries can provide resources, and provisions for America should not be able to down with the House and the Senate and everybody involved by a package that can be sustained for us on a month-to-month basis until it gets inspectified. Like Nabo said, it's going on a year. You can imagine what's going on in households across this country within a year. For those that were already barely making it, for those that were already living check to check, for those that were already trying to pitch their pennies and rob Peter to pay Paul, for those people that was already at that level before this pandemic, can you imagine what's going on in their household right now? It's probably crazy. It's emotionally, mentally, it's being affected across the board.
Right, and then with the I'm not sure how I went as far as the unemployment. The unemployment benefits, did they expire? Am I correct? Didn't they expire December 31st?
Yeah, they expired. So and for people like people like you and I who actually were working, we were able to get it to a certain point. But then once companies start going back full time with their employees, even though the funds were not still probably enough to make sure that your household taken care of, you no longer qualified for unemployment. So what happens then when you no longer qualify for unemployment, but your economic level is still at the same. That's a problem.
Right.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree on that. Um, it's just interesting that it's taking this long to get another payment, and the fact that it's lower than the first payment that we got.
first one, right?
So that,
Right.
I was sitting up thinking about that today, and I was just like, wait a minute. They gave us, and then they turn around and give us, another payment 8 months later, and it's half what the first payment was. Almost like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if you're struggling, we're gonna give you half we gave you last time.
Yeah. So I feel like, personally, I feel like they gave us something like, what, it's been a long time, and they're struggling. Let's give them something so they'll be okay. Let's give them some type of amount, and that they'll be okay. Because like I say, it's a blessing but a slap in the face at the same time. Because of course, any money right now will help anybody in any household. But at the same time, like you say, you not only gave us, it took you months to come over the package. It took you months to come together to approve it. It took you months to decide that we deserve to get it, and then you give us half of what you gave us the first time, and then you put provisions in there that allotted families to receive less funding than they did the first time for those who kids who are maybe have turned 17 this year, or maybe, but last year they weren't 17. Now you don't get the money for that child because now they're 17, and you got kids that are in college that work that can't get the money because they're a dependent but can't be counted as a dependent. How does that work? That's so they actually changed the provisions to where it made it difficult for families to receive money for dependents, and dependents can't receive money for themselves. On top of the fact that you gave us half. I said again, you gave us half of what you gave us before. So in essence, is it really to help us or to appease us? So you can stop, kind of like a pacifier, baby crying real loud, and then you give them a pacifier, be quiet. I feel like that's kind of what it was. At the same time, it wasn't really, them coming together saying, what, let's create a package that will actually help the American people. Let's just create a package that will actually change, the course of what they're dealing with, and and help their household fundings, or help their financial needs. I think it's to sit down and say, what, it's becoming close to a year. There's been a lot going on. American citizens are getting restless, so we have to do something to make sure that there is not a chaotic experience. So they came up with the amount, $600. Okay, great. There you go. At the same time. So it was more like a pacifier than, a blessing, in my opinion, even though it was a blessing.
Right. And then obviously kind of rolling into the election and all things that happened in Georgia, and with Ossoff and Warnock winning the elections for Senate. Obviously, it caused a
yeah. Some people were not. Some people were really not happy with that. They were really disappointed and not happy, with the outcome of that.
Right.
And I'm hoping, what I'm hoping is that is making people who before now were not looking at the issues on the table, having to step back and say, what, there are real issues on the table. And I don't know if if you and other people had conversation, people of color. If you're a person of color, I'm pretty sure you saw that, and your first thoughts were, if that had been Black people.
Right.
There's no way that you're a person of color and it didn't cross your mind. Had that been Black people, and I'm gonna try not to cry on camera, because every time I think about that and I recall that in my mind, and I look at it on the news, my first thoughts, that would have been so many slain, bloodied Black Americans across that Capitol ground. There is no way that nobody on this planet that has a heartbeat in their body would not have known the outcome of yesterday had that been people of color. Everybody knows that. So I hope that situation alone made people who normally wouldn't have understood what we were fighting for, meaning people of color, I hope that opened their eyes to understand in a whole new outlook, in a whole new way of how that went and how that transpired and how that the outcome of that was totally different than what that would have been had that been you, me, and people that looked like us yesterday. We would even, first of all, we would have even never made it into the Capitol building. That would have never even happened. Period. That wouldn't that wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. Period.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally 100% agree on that. And it really goes to say what the environment that we're dealing with, because if you change roles and like you said, you put a person of color in that situation, we have an understanding of what we think what might have happened. And the fact that reversed and we saw what happened, it definitely just kind of leaves a sour taste in our mouth. But it's one of those things you just kind of, because we watched it live and we saw it unfold, and the funny thing about it is the day before they reported it, they said it's good. They said this is going to happen. It's going to be a flare up at the Capitol tomorrow. So obviously they knew it was. So they knew it was coming and had time to prepare. And it's interesting how they handled it. So it's
it's sad. It's sad. That's what it's sad. It's a very, and I do commend President-elect Biden for when he said he was honest. He said we all know, and no one can tell me that had that not been people of Black Lives Matter, then we know the outcome, and we do. So I'm hoping, and sometimes. The sad thing I always say is that it's a blessing and it's not a blessing. Is that people can never understand something until it hits them. I don't know why. That's part of the dehumanization that we're facing in this country that I hope is going to change. But people can never really understand something until it hits their home or their family or something involving them. So it took that to hit the Capitol and the people in it for them to understand. Hold on, wait, this for real. We have not been saying this for real for years, but it took for the, to hit their house, their home and their area for them to say this is a problem. Yes, you're right. This is a problem. So, like I said, I hope that the outcome is if they change the concept and the mindset of how people in Congress, House, Senate, it is on both sides are looking at what's happening in this country for all people. All people. Because there's a reason that, minorities are saying that we are, suffering. We are. We're not whining and crying. There's a problem in this country. There's a divide, a racial divide in this country. When people, when the protesters, the terrorist type people were protesting, they were protesting for their America, and their America doesn't include people like us. That's what they're fighting for. Their America doesn't look like America, because America is a lot of people. It's not just one race. It is a conglomerate of a lot of different people, which makes it beautiful. But they're fighting for their America, and their America only consists of how they look. Period. And before now, that wasn't really. It was like, yeah, we know. Now they're like, yeah, we know. So, hopefully we will see what happens, moving forward, because it has to be a change economically. It has to be a change across the board.
And with the election, with the candidates being picked and everything being all the numbers in and all the votes are everything's pretty much, laid out. What are some things that you think Biden will do? Warnock, and also what are some things you think they'll bring to the table now that they're newly elected into those positions? What are some things that you want to see get done during their reign in office?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping they bring to the table the things that we voted for them for.
Mm-hmm.
The things that they stated that they understood was a problem: racial inequality,
Mm-hmm.
the financial divide in our in our economic system for people who are everyday workers versus those who have been in the 1% and the 10%. Those areas. I hope the things that they actually stated they were fighting for and the things that we actually voted for them for, because those two things are majorly an issue in this country. Racial division is one of the major. It has been since slavery, since the conception of America. Racial division has been a problem since the soil was changed from the Americas to the United States of America. There has been a racial division in this country. There has been a financial division in this country from the time it was the Americas to the time it became the United States of America. Those two things have been the prominent and seated things in this country that has divided us and has kept people on one level and those on another level since the beginning of this country. So I hope that they understand that the country was seeded wrong in the first place. And with that, and how you see something, is how it's going to grow. And right now, what we're looking at is the harvest of the seeds of this country from the very beginning. So right now, I'm hoping that they understand that what needs to be happening right now is we need to reseed this country in a different kind of way, so that we will grow in a different kind of way, and we will reap a different kind of harvest for our children and our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, and thus forth. We need to reseed what's happening right now. Face all the issues that's on the table, pull them dead weeds up, and reseed this earth with some new soil. I'm serious. Like everything needs to be just pulled up, honestly, and just start over from the ground up. And in order to do that, we have to understand what the issues are. And the issues are that we are not equal. Whether it's our skin color, whether it's our financial situations, we are not equal in this equal free country of America. It's not. We're not. So it has to be turned around, revamped. People who are saying that this is how it is has to understand that this is how it is because we made it that way. We allowed it to be that way for generations and generations, and now we have reaped the harvest of being able to allow that to happen. And that's what right now we're looking at it. From the White House to our house, we're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I hope they would do what they said they were going to do. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping to for particularly for Warnock and Ossoff. I know they were fighting for the $2,000 stimulus check, so I'm hoping right off the muscle when they come in that they push for that and get that approved and get those checks out and get the process on that rolling and get that done. Because that's
if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard him announcement on the radio. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think I heard a news commentary where he was saying, we was on the election time, that was one of the things that he had spoken with President-elect Biden about, and that if they were elected, that would be one of the main things they set in motion as soon as they were, voted, as soon as they were sworn in and were able to actually do the movement of their positions. That would be the $2,000 stimulus check would be one of the things that they would immediately roll out immediately. So I'm hoping that they stick to that and that comes, to us as soon as possible because we need it. We definitely do need it.
Okay. And I definitely, and for Biden, one of his things that I was particularly fond of is the student loan relief program that he had. Yeah. So I'm not really sure specifics of the numbers. At first, I know I heard forgiveness of up to 10,000, and then I heard that he may have been pushing for a little more, maybe close to 50,000. So with those both being said, yeah, I would hope that would definitely be on the table. Coming in with him, coming in as a presidential candidate. So I'm hoping that that's one thing that he kind of, of course, racial inequality, which is always going to be an issue and something that we want to change.
Yeah, wow.
Student loans is probably one of the ones that I'm most fond of because I think that will help impact a lot of individuals in a good way. Because just student loan debt alone, has kind of delayed a lot of things for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Especially millennials. Up, so I think being able to reform that process and figure out what we could do is those are issues that I see would really be of benefit.
Wow, that would be amazing because because some people monthly payments for their student loans is coming out of the car note for them. At the same time, so to be able to lower the payments for them or just eradicate student loans, period. That would change a lot of households financially. Because we carry student loan debt for years. We carry that debt for years, and then it grows in interest. So you may start out with $10,000. By the time you're 30, it's over with $75,000, and you only had a $10,000 loan. So the interest, on student loans, will hurt people. I have a young girl, my oldest in college, and me and her dad is constantly trying to avoid her getting loans unless she has to, because you would carry those for a long time, and they will constantly grow in interest. So I definitely hope and pray that is one of the things that he touched on when he gets into office, because that would change the financial, economic system for a lot of families. Period. It just will. Because some people don't even pay their student loans because it's just too much. They will avoid it because it's just too much. It's actually a whole nother, a bill that people cannot even afford to pay. Yeah, it definitely needs, to be that way. Because, I've always had an issue with us paying for education anyway. You all talk about Canada. Canada has a system set up to where I think, if I'm not mistaken, they get free education, with a free healthcare, one or the other. But I know there's some countries they get free education. So it's like I don't understand how in America, we have been such, on a top tier level that we have been on for so long, and we pay for so many things, and so that we shouldn't have to pay for in this country. So so I'm hoping they look into reforming the student loan. That would be awesome. Like that would be awesome for us. That'd be awesome for our kids, our grandkids. That would be something that needs to be looked into, because that is a debt that people carry for a lifetime. They carry that for a lifetime.
And then on top of that, not to mention postgraduate school, people are acquiring master's degrees and PhDs.
Yes.
So as the go into those phases of higher learning, the debt continues to accrue. You know what I mean? So
it does.
And master programs are of course expensive, but when you start getting up into your PhDs and your doctorate level programs, I mean you're talking over $150,000 worth of loans.
Yeah, if not more.
Yeah, but what I will say is the only difference between that is if you do graduate with that doctorate degree, you have the opportunity to be able to make a high earning salary. So you can have the option to be able to pull, pay them back if you are entering into a program to be a doctor or, a position of that type of profession. You have the opportunity to make a high paying salary where you actually can pay back the student loans.
Yeah, but taking account how many people won't even pursue that because they don't want the financial debt to even get to the level to have to pay it. So there's so many people who have probably missed out on the opportunity, one to have a PhD, one to have a master's. They didn't want to carry the debt that came along, with that process. So those things like that, So we're missing out on a lot of people who could be educated further, but don't want to have to go through the process of that. So that would have to, actually help eliminate people, having the fear of wanting to acquire the debt and and losing out on having a more lucrative career or be more educated because they don't want to go through the process of having more loans. So that would help that process of those people too.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Okay. Well, it's been awesome.
Well, villagers, we just wrapped up another show. We had a good show, discussed some good topics, ranging from the stimulus check to the event that took place in Capitol Hill. I definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to give a shout out to all the villagers in the new year. And I want to hand it over to my co-host, Hakina.
Well, thank you. And we love everyone out there always tune in. We got to continue to bring in new topics and talk about new things that's going on in our communities, our households, and definitely in in our country. And we look forward to seeing you. We love you. We love you. Stay safe. Please stay safe. So again, until next Thursday, tune in. Leave it.
All right. All right. We'll catch y'all next time, next Thursday. Until then, we'll see y'all later.